Dude. What's up, beautiful people? It's your girls, Leanne. We're getting blissed out. Another beautiful, hot, wonderful, glorious, unbelievable, magnificent interview with beautiful people in a heart-based community setting. This is spontaneity at its best. Don't plan so much when the universe just stops time. It's a beautiful moment to serve, to love. And this podcast is about two beautiful people out in our community have been leading their legacies and wisdom. And their course is the course on Enlightenment. So I want to welcome to the show, Dr. Thomas Stafford.
Greetings, hi.
And Sachin Raja.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So community, we have the ability to continue to grow the heart-based focused. And what really came to my attention for me is service right now. It's an opportunity for me to serve two beautiful men that have done work on themselves and that continue to uplift the community with their knowledge. And the knowledge in this course that they want to offer to the community is unbelievable. I had a chance to open up the link from Dr. Thomas Stafford and looking through 28 wonderful models of the course on Enlightenment. I saw myself and I saw like, wow, well, I did that work. I'm like, wow, they're doing so much in here. And there's so much that they can offer to the people that are going to be able to join their time and space. So I just want to be in service to get the message out to help from our network at Blissed Out Network and also Conscious Living Network. However, we can build these bridges and unite. Also, we'll put it out everywhere we can. And hopefully the right people come across this video on YouTube. We'll share, we'll like, and the right people will fall into the grace of these two beautiful men leading their legacies and their passions. So Sachin, I have you above me. I'm just looking at this design here in the Zoom meeting. Why don't we go into a little bit of introducing you, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you met Thomas and more about the course.
Certainly. Thanks, Leanne. And thanks so much for having both of us. First of all, I'm a fan of Dr. Thomas Stafford. I found him a few years back online, him sharing about philosophy, world events, all related to history. And, you know, his experience was so vast in many realms that are very close to my heart, which is really human unity, peace, consciousness, awakening of humankind so that we're in symbiotic, profound relationship in the highest. And so I reached out to him and we really hit it off, and he was really struck me as a person who's been on the forefront of not just the philosophical aspects of peace and enlightenment and consciousness, but really rubber meets the road, working on peace where there's hotbeds around the world. So thank you so much for your life experience, Thomas. And I know you're going to share about that. And how I came to this is I have a deep interest in human potential and consciousness, martial arts, spirituality, all forms of psycho-spiritual healing since I was very young. And I've been on this path of really absorbing what's useful, as Bruce Lee says, and discarding what I no longer find useful and coming up with my own creations. And so I've found for me that the essence of all the world traditions, all the great wisdom masters that I've been blessed to meet, they're all pointing to this thing called enlightenment, to wake up, to become more conscious, to come out of some sleep into some higher state of awakeness. And, you know, I've been around the world many, many times seeking masters of so many traditions and hearing and receiving the Dharma, the transmissions of their being. And I've been blessed to drink of that. And that's what I'm going to be sharing from my lived experiences of many life traditions, many experiences of spirituality, because I believe it's like a tapestry that when we start to understand, we become more in union with the whole. It's not one enlightenment. We understand and we get to appreciate the different flavors of the expressions of these perennial timeless truths. So, and that's why we're here today. We're here to express what we've brought together and learned to bring about greater unity in this time where there's great division, there's intense division, there's continuous flaming of division. And we truly feel that enlightenment and a waking up to it, understanding it, is the pathway to bringing back wholeness and oneness and unity, our true nature.
Well, I just love the diversify feeling that you're bringing, Satchan, in expressing where you've received transmissions of light, not from just one area of your religious studies. And I really feel like it's a wonderful open door for oneness and for more people to see it's a human journey. It's a one blood journey that we have. And there's so much to this ascension process. So thank you for that. Dr. Thomas Stafford, what a pleasure to have you also here and to be reflective to all of our love that we have to offer, me, you, and Satchan. You know, we just showing up, and you have also your own personal transmissions of light. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself and your part in this wonderful course with Satchan?
Absolutely. Before I do that, I just want to say happy birthday to you. I believe it's your birthday, and so you're part of this. And also every day I do a sort of meditation prayer ritual, you know, and today is what's called the anniversary of the Annunciation, which is the day on which the very young girl Mary was told by an angel that she was going to birth the Messiah, which is an extraordinary story. Leonardo da Vinci did a wonderful painting about that. So I just thought that's very auspicious. We're doing an annunciation of our course, and we're announcing it through you, a sort of Mary type figure, on this day. So thank you for being here and letting us appear like two Magi out of the mists. So yes, I mean, just to follow Satchan, we've been collaborating for a few years. He's an amazing chap in Canada. He's sort of doing stuff I would have done had I remained in Canada. I was born there in Montreal. Then I moved. I was working in Calgary. I mean, I was studying all world religions at the University of Calgary. I wanted to be a philosopher quite early on. I wanted to find truth, enlightenment. I had certain enlightenment experiences in my late teens, early 20s. You know, I discovered there's more to life than logical positivism. Let's put it like that. And I went off to live philosophy instead of just studying it academically. But then I went to Canada. I lived there for 4 years, and I spent a very disciplined time. That's my Brahmacharya years. I was completely focused on this study, and I read through all the world's great spiritual literatures from every culture. It's when I dipped into. It's when I read the Bible for the first time, and the whole of the Quran, the Jewish scriptures, the Hindu scriptures, all of them. I was practicing yoga and meditation from about the age of 18 onwards, and all the great Buddhist sutras. And I realized after 4 years of this enormously complex, deep study that, okay, so there's a fundamental unity here. And yet I looked around and the world was full of division and war and conflict and nationalism and tribalism and so on. So I'd taken a kind of bodhisattva vow. I suppose the first religion I got very interested in and committed to was Buddhism. I thought this path of awakening, it sort of called me home to the spiritual journey, you know. And the accident of being born in a particular family with particular parents who I love, and they were wonderful, amazing people. I was brought up in Montreal and then Sussex in England. You know, that's an accident of history in a sense. It's one's eternal nature that one is looking for. And I discovered when I read Plato and Greek philosophy and discovered the Pythagorean Orphic traditions, which we're going to be talking about, that's part of it. You know, Plato and Socrates said all knowledge is remembrance. So one of the questions I have in this course, and we'll be sharing this, is, are we already enlightened? You know, have we three already met before?
Nice.
And we're reawakening, remembering something. And is everybody on the planet already enlightened? And we're just here to remind people that whatever your outer religion, you may be Jewish or Muslim or Christian or Buddhist or whatever, Hindu, you know, it doesn't matter. Or you may be just not have a religion, but maybe you're already enlightened in some way. And so we're just trying to, you know, remind people of that. And I mean, we're all on our personal stories, but it's a collective thing. The other thing I will be exploring is, you see, in the European tradition, we talk about the Enlightenment. which was a period in the 18th, 19th centuries when people sort of tried to get human rights, social justice, women's equality, you know, a more liberal, democratic, constitutional society together, and a more peaceful society. That was called the Enlightenment. People like Kant were behind that, who I greatly respect. Yet the project, you know, hasn't completely, you know, what's happened to that project in amidst all the chaos of tribalism and nationalism. So we're going to be looking at this thing about personal enlightenment, collective enlightenment. What's the paradox there? And as you probably know, in Buddhism, there's the initially it started off with I'm going to find my enlightenment, you know, Theravadin, and then it grew into Mahayana, which is I'm going to find the collective enlightenment. And later on, I'm going to read, if I may, a quote from a great Zen master, which I was studying today, Huang Po.
Nice.
I'll come back to that. So anyway, that's just a little, you know, introduction to what my approach will be.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of nectar and there's a lot of self-work that you guys have both done on yourselves, including myself. When I look reflectively at all this, having many names, faces, forms, opened up many doors, and then even coming through the paradox of nirvana and samsara and seeing the merging and integration process right now for ascension. You know, we're all holding space to show up, and there's space being made for us to show up. And we just have to find that glimpse in that moment where the right people just show up, what we're offering vibrationally. So this vibration that you guys are putting together through two wonderful integrated minds and passionate minds is a beautiful service to the community. And it's a beautiful reflective understanding of the nuggets and transmissions that can come from being with you guys in a room. So that's why I want to encourage the community to come and to hear more. There's going to be links that will be attached to this also, which will have, you know, among the enlightened models, they're going to be sharing the following. And so, Thomas, you were talking about some of your background and what you studied. So reflectively, you've got here the Upanishads, Vedanta, Hindu enlightenments, Rishi, sages, gods, and avatars there. From 1 to 28, it looks like you've covered everything that is available so that you can attract a really good human essence and come back to being an enlightened human, but understanding all of that from within. So maybe Satchan, we can bring it over to you to come into this next part of this session here and share a little bit more about this breakdown. There's a lot here, and just you can add your parts there.
Absolutely. Well, there's so many forms of gods and deifications and representations of enlightenment and flavors of enlightenment and schools of enlightenment, and they all have their own aspects of being which I've experienced that they fill out, that they bring illumination to. And you know, I've been really influenced by Bruce Lee and his philosophy of absorbing what's useful, discarding what's not, and then coming up with your own creations. And I found that pragmatic approach to sensing and feeling for where is the nuggets here that can affect my life? Where's the wisdom that I can receive from all these different spectrums of the expressions of truth that fill me out even more, that illuminate aspects perhaps of my sexuality I didn't realize, illuminate aspects of my capacity to remain in peace and equanimity underneath intense times, that this one has strengths in expressing and awakening. Maybe this one opens up ritualistic context in my consciousness and helps me become elevated in ecstatic ways. And this one gets me involved in my body and breath and gets me very connected to the earth plane and feeling the spirituality arising from Mother Earth. So, I don't find that there's any actual superiority of these, but they're all tapestries. As one of my yogic masters said, when I asked him, what are all the differences? There's so many differences of schools of yoga. And he says, no, there's only one. I go, what do you mean? Because it's where you find yourself on that path, which incarnation, what you're showing up. This one, your yoga might be of a soldier. Next one, it might be of a mother. Next one, it might be of a sharer of truth. So having said that, Thomas has taken great care in going through really the spectrum of these powerful world traditions. I like him to express all of that. And what I wanted to share from my end around this is these are all potent for us to become the whole being, the world universal being, the world citizen in which we're all growing into. Yes, we can enjoy and still be a Canadian, an American, whatever we identify in terms of nationality. But we're also quickly moving into becoming a world citizen in consciousness, which will prepare us to become a universal citizen. And so this is what I feel the value of really drawing the nectar of all these wisdoms gives us to grow, especially in these times.
I hear the Godhead.
Yes.
I hear the Godhead. I hear the expansion of having all the faces, and even the same feeling of Shakti, you know, and coming back to Shiva for myself, and Brahma, Maheshwara, Ishvara, and whatever we're in each dance, and whatever aspect we are in, the multitudes of all of our heads and all of our internal forms. I'm honored to be sitting here in this moment, because that's where I am also. And so I feel the laws of attraction have allowed us to show up. And Thomas, you know, bring it out. We want to do about 40 minutes here. So we've got probably another 15 or 17 minutes. So go into it, you know, express as much as you can. You got a whole list here of like, even let's talk a little bit about Tantra too. You can talk a little bit about Tantric energy, because I feel we have already put a little bit of emphasis on the yoga, you know, the earth and the sky. So bring out a little bit of the earth and the sky.
Gosh, okay. So I can't go into all of them. There's going to be, we're doing this over a year. It's a year's course, so it's like a master's degree. There's going to be one class every month, which gives people a whole moon cycle to sort of digest what they've learned and then come back round for more. And I just want to explain something about the grammar of this. Why are we calling it enlightenments, plural? You see, most spiritual teachers, they talk about enlightenment, singular. And if you go and study with a different yoga teacher or tantric teacher or Buddhist or you know, Christian or whoever, well, so it was way back in about, I don't know, the late 1990s. I gave a lecture actually to a pagan conference in Shrewsbury in Shropshire, and I coined this concept of enlightenments. In a pagan context, there's a plurality of gods and goddesses, and there's a recognition that as in Tantra, there are many different divine faces. One isn't, you know, obsessed with a particular deity. You know, you can meditate on different deities, and they show up and they bring you a certain degree of enlightenment. And you can alter the gender, and you can play with the colors, and that's what they do in Tibetan Tantra, which influenced me a lot. So you conceive of different bodhisattvas connected with different directions, different dakinis, different, you know, goddesses, and so on. Now they're all amazing, but so what I thought in this lecture, which was sort of foundational to the course, is let's start talking about enlightenments, plural. Let's do a comparative study of enlightenments. Let's get great Jewish Kabbalists, great Sufis, great Tantric scholars, great practitioners of different forms of yoga in the same room or the same class, and say, well, what's enlightenment like for you? When you pray to Yahweh at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem and you pray for world peace, you know, what's going on in your heart and head and soul? What would planetary enlightenment look like for you as a Kabbalist, as a rabbi? And then let's ask the Sufi, let's ask the guy from Palestine who wants his state and hasn't got it, and he keeps praying to Allah and he wants to find his path, you know, in the world. And so is it that different? Would the Palestinian Muslims' view of enlightenment be so different to the Israeli rabbis? You know, and what about the you know, I mean, the motivation for this course emerged out of my work as a peace scholar, peace studies expert. So I was watching the conflicts, say, in Sri Lanka. I was running meetings in the House of Lords in the British Parliament, because I lived in London for many years, where I studied and taught at the University of London. And if you recall, in Sri Lanka, there was mass killings going on between Tamil Hindus and Sinhalese Buddhists, and they were slaughtering each other, right? And I was looking at this in horror, thinking, what? They're all like their brothers and sisters. They worship the same ultimate kind of reality. They've just got different forms. So that, and you know, it was going on in the Balkans with the wars in the 90s between Christians and Orthodox and Catholic Christians. That's happening again in Ukraine. And I've always thought, no, there's got to be another way. There must be some, we have to find our common essence as human beings to stop all this nonsense. So the Enlightenment Pluralization project is let's think of it like each of these different Enlightenment teams is like a fire brigade engine with a fire hose and their own water supply. The planet's on fire, and we're calling them to come and show up, bring their water of enlightenment, and let's start addressing these conflicts and within ourselves, you know, as well as externally, because we know that things, you know, inner and outer mirror each other. I've given a whole long lecture on Tantra, which is on my YouTube channel. I mean, it's a subject that, to me, I mean, the word Tantra, the etymology of it, it's the extension of all reality, time and space, physics, the particles that make up existence, are actually coming from one common source, a seed source, which is sound. We can say, you know, that the sounds of each chakra evoked by the tantric master or the Kabbalist or the Sufi who's learned the coding of sound. That's, I mean, when the Bible says in the beginning, God created the world, you know, through speaking, through sound, it's the same insight that the tantric has. And what we're trying to do with enlightenment is to activate all those codes and sounds so that, as Sachin says, it's not one is better than the other. You know, we have the Allah team, Allah, the Sufi word for God. We have the Yahweh team, Yahweh. You know, we have the Vishnu team. We have the Shiva team. You know, these are all magnificent sound codes for different sorts of enlightenment, which we can do as spiritual beings in physical form. We need to reactivate the enlightenment potential of each of the different religions and spiritual teachings on the planet, so they no longer become modes of otherness, vehicles of aggressiveness, but rather vehicles of unity and love. And I've coined another word just to say, I've also coined the word enlovement, because I'm a linguist. I like playing with language. And we also, enlightenment's plural, yeah, but we also need enlovements, because I want the world to fall in love with itself again. Everybody should be in love. Socrates was once asked by someone, Socrates, have you ever been in love? And he said, my dear boy, there's never been a time I haven't been in love. To me, that's an enlightened master speaking. He was the teacher of Plato and the founder of Western academic philosophy. So can we get to the place where we can all say that, please? That to me would be planetary enlightenment.
Yeah, I feel also, you know, that's coming in our homes, right? It starts in our family life. How are we seeing our children? How are we seeing our community? And how do we start our day? How do we go to bed? So I feel, you know, myself doing that for the last 40 years, raising 2 kids through it, like ashram living to also abundance, reflecting, working, you know, in regular media to conscious media, and finding that pathway, because no matter what I worked with in media, I always found a way. Oh, I'm getting pulled over here. And then I'm getting challenged by even conscious media to say, do it on your own and be a goddess and have every multifaceted arm. So I'm here to show up, and I'm here to fall and to rise and to become timeless. You know, that's really what we need to feel. And we need to offer that loving support, knowing by putting our feet into the ground where we are in our moments and looking into each other. So I'm looking into both of you as my brothers, and grateful for the work that you're doing in bringing out your uniqueness and your unique opportunity to hold space for all the other ascended masters and great writers and profound conscious souls that we can pull that energy in. And what you're going to do is offer that to the people that are coming to your course. Satyan, was there anything that you wanted to touch note on what Thomas was mentioning?
I want to share that based on all these different realms and traditions that we're going to be expressing, we're also going to be sharing contemplations, cultivations, exercises, practices that give people the tangible experiences and practices that they'll be able to practice from one moon cycle to the next, 1 month after another. So as Thomas was sharing, this will be over 12 months, 1 session per month. And it'll be a wonderful opportunity to meet other truth seekers, truth realizers, peace lovers, those who are interested in what I consider the essential topic, which is enlightenments. And I really hope for all of us, whoever is drawn and called to this, that you come and join us on this journey. And please bring your open heart, bring your willingness, and bring a good intention. You know, how can enlightenment, how can you deepen, awaken, expand the enlightenment that you already have, that is already inherent within us, for the sake of all beings.
Thomas, I know you had a quote that you wanted to say on behalf of the Zen quotation. Why don't you end this with that?
Sure.
And that would be enough for people to get an introduction. And you guys are more than welcome to pick my brain on doing this and updating every month based on the growth that you're having with this course, and maybe reflect on the growth that you're learning with others. Because I really feel every moment's about learning, unlearning, and relearning. And I'm here to serve. So end the note with your lovely quotations on Zen.
Sure, thank you. Before I do that, I'm just gonna, there's a few questions. I'm a teacher in the Socratic tradition, so I'm gonna be throwing in questions in this course. It's going to be intellectually stimulating, I hope, you know, as well as emotionally and spiritually. One of the questions I'll be asking is, why is there so much unenlightenment? Another question is, I'm going to ask about this concept of what I've coined called Sophia-phobia, the fear of wisdom. One of the reasons there is a scarcity of enlightenment seems to be people are afraid of it because it brings responsibilities, you know. Oh God, I'll have to be all holy and pure and wear white and sit on a dais. And no, I'm not going to do that yet, you know, or whatever. Or well, I might have to give up my family and be celibate, you know. So what is Sophia-phobia? Can the study of languages help? I've given a few clues, but what are the words for enlightenment in different languages like Japanese, Sanskrit, Greek, etc.? And then there's an interesting one about, can religious mathematics help? I've just written a 3-volume book on religious mathematics, which is a whole new discipline. And that asks questions like, okay, how many lifetimes of incarnation do I have to do before I reach enlightenment? Can I carry forward the enlightenment I've reached in any one given incarnation to my next incarnation? Like, is it a cumulative thing? Can I give away enlightenment? How do I do that? You know, how many people will it take to be fully enlightened and realized on this planet for the entire collective aura of the planet to shift out of war and horror and fear and panic to peace? Those are mathematical questions, and I've started I've created a language that mathematicians can work with metaphysicians and religious leaders to actually ask and answer those questions. So really, nobody's thought of even asking them before, actually. And then, obviously, we focused on what is the equivalent to enlightenment in all the religions. That's what we're going to be looking at. And then the final point I'll be making in the course is this is sort of part of the training to become a magical peace worker. I've coined this phrase, peace magic, because I'm a druid as well, and that's druid simply means magician in the Celtic languages, and or a magi. So, is there such a thing as peace magic? Where's it gone? What is it? Let's revive it. And yes, there is. That's what druids do, and it should be what all magi and enlightened sages do. You know. So let's get the team back up and working. Okay, so that's kind of, those are some of the questions I'll be asking, and I think it's going to be fun.
Sounds very powerful. Sounds very powerful. And I feel it's going to be a place where people can really look within themselves. On the ending note, I just say you were talking about Druidism. It is the Druid New Year on my birthday too. So I think it is today.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll do
Well,
stuff with that.
well, there we are. Happy New Year to
Happy
you.
New Year,
and,
happy birthday. Let's all get blessed and blissed out. Blissed out
Yeah.
is fun. So yes, finish with your lovely quote, and then
Okay.
we will be so happy to share this as much as we can everywhere we can.
Sure. Okay, this is a quote from one of the foundational Zen masters of China, the Chang tradition, called Huang Po. He died in 849 AD. I just love this. It sums it all up. All Buddhas and all ordinary beings are nothing but the one mind. The mind is beginningless and endless, unborn and indestructible. It has no color or shape, neither exists nor doesn't exist, isn't old or new, long or short, large or small, since it transcends all measures, limits, names, and comparisons. It is what you see in front of you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So Satyen, thank you so much for showing up. It's a pleasure to serve you, my brother. And also you, Thomas. You guys are beautiful people. This links will be posted to this chat. Satyen, anything you want to end with? Did you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm just grateful for you, Leanne, and grateful for you, Thomas, and all that will be joining us. We welcome you.
Awesome. So yeah, so click the link and click share, click like. I will put their link to their event. And any questions, please direct message Thomas or Satyen. Love and light. Namaste, guys.
Okay, thank you.